Well, welcome everybody. We're very excited to be here. It's an honour to be here with you, Joe.
Yeah.
This is our 93-year young Joe Szwarcberg. We're going to be learning all about your incredible story of hope and optimism. Before we jump into your story, I just want to remind everyone to go to thesocialblueprint.org.au. Really is the best community resource. It's Melbourne's largest Jewish event calendar, plenty more, so make sure you log into the socialblueprint.org.au. But we're here to talk to you, Joe.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for having us today.
I can read my life story and you can hear it.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll do that after.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because we could do that and maybe add some of those things in. So we're really honoured to be here with you today and to meet with you and to learn.
I'm very happy that you come. Yes.
We're very happy to be here. We're very happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much for taking the interest to come. That's very important for me. Yes.
Thank you. And we've really learned so much about your incredible story of optimism, of survival, of really never of hatred, only of positivity.
Yes.
Even with all of that bad luck at the beginning with those horrors, but also the incredible good luck of being here now.
Yes, a bit lucky too. A bit luck happened in everything. Luck is very important, yes, to have a bit of luck in life.
But it feels like your story has got these incredible moments, this story of companionship, of camaraderie, and we'd love to really learn more about that. And we'd like to maybe get just a little sense of what was life like for you before the war. Maybe tell us just about those early years in Poland before the war.
I come from a very religious family. My grandfather was a sofer, he taught the Torah. And he also done the parchment, and as a little boy I used to watch him.
Yeah.
Yes. And I used to go to synagogue with my father. And my father was a mediator in town, a well-respected man. And I can never forget, we went every Friday night, Saturday we went to shul. And when he walked in, everybody greeted him very warmly because he was well-respected, And I had a good voice. And I used to sing solo in the synagogue on Friday night and Saturday. Yes. I had a very good voice, even in Buchenwald.
I know, we're going to get to that. We know that you've used that voice in a bit of a cheeky way as well. Yes.
Yeah.
And being a Jew at that time in Poland, was there any danger?
There was anti-Semitism in Poland.
Mm-hmm.
A little story I'll tell you, which has really happened. I went to school. I was 7 years old at that time. It was a Polish boy who lived not far from me. And walking home, he took a stone and hit me in the head. I was split off with blood. And he told me in Polish, I killed Jesus. To be honest, I was 7 years. I didn't know what Jesus about all that. I came in crying to my mother to bandage me up. That sure was anti-Semitism in Poland. And we lived in an area where mostly 90% was Jewish people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a village? Was it a town?
The Polish people many times, they used to get drunk with vodka, and become very wild and used to attack Jewish people, and people used to close the doors. Some other people that I remember, younger boys used to come out and had a fight with him, stood up against him, But then, we're not fighting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were the youngest of 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls?
Yes. One even passed away, was born, I'm the 7th, but I'm the youngest of 6 here.
Got it.
Yeah.
And your mum, I remember reading that you said your mother used to bake challah.
She used to wear shaitel,
So very religious.
Yes, religious. I'm not fanatic like some you see in Ripoli. But very religious,
And that would have been normal for most of the people around you?
Mostly not. You couldn't live in Kozienice if you were not religious. You put it that way.
And then when you turned...
Very religious, a lot of rabbis.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people came from other towns to visit the rabbis. And they were dancing in the street. And every Saturday, my father took me to the rabbi. The rabbi had a little boy called Moshe, and he was my friend. So I was sitting next to the rabbi,
So being a Jew at that time, you could be a Jew, you didn't have to hide.
No, we feel very free.
And then what happened when you turned 8?
When I turned 8, about 8 years old in September, I was not, the Germans marched, and you read my story.
Yeah.
And when they marched in, they burned straight away the 2 synagogues. And the synagogues were not very far from my house. And you could smell the smoke, and I was very frightened.
Yeah.
So later on, Kozienice became a ghetto. And I used to take away the men to camps. But my 2 brothers, my father used to hid himself in the attic, not to be taken away. So I had to go out from the ghetto, risk my life, every early morning to bring food for my family. If I would be caught, they would have shot me on the spot. Yeah.
And
They didn't let in any food and medication. You couldn't, chemist was. That's why my mother died, because she couldn't have doctors and medication to heal her. Yeah.
so within that ghetto ended up.
It wasn't a ghetto like a white wire, like
Yeah.
you could lift it up and go through,
Okay.
Later on the ghetto. It was Kozienice was liquidated.
Yes.
And I was sent away to a camp, separated. I was not even 12 years old when I was separated from my family and sent to a horrible camp, Szwarcberg in Poland, a slave camp, it was a munition factory. And when I came to the camp, they did not want to take me to work because I was a little boy. And there was about 60 boys in my age that time in that camp, Jewish boys. But I was very lucky. One of the ladies, her name was Rosenbaum, I had a little boy called Moniek, and she knew if he's not going to work, they will kill him. She was quite a rich woman in Kozienice. She had a brick factory, and she managed to smuggle in a diamond, and she bribed the foreman to take her little boy Moniek to work. So the German, who was the foreman, came to the camp and took 10 boys, and I happened to be outside, and I was one of the lucky 10, and all the other 50 were later taken away and killed. So thanks to this lady, I'm talking to you today.
Yeah.
She really saved my life. Yes.
And even getting before that, I think that there was some information given to your father because he was so well regarded about before they went to, was it to Treblinka?
My father went to Auschwitz.
Right.
Yeah. Before that, when they liquidated Kozienice, they took all the women and children in cattle trains and took them to Treblinka. Treblinka was an extermination camp where 700,000 to 900,000 people were just met. It was not a camp like other camps, just the camp that got undressed and they never came out. And I must tell you something which really happened. One from Kozienice, his name Shum Fischbel, he was 18 years old. He was a friend of my brother Benjamin. They took him out to take away the clothes from the people in Treblinka and put them in cattle trains to go to Germany. So he put himself in the center and he escaped. Yeah, he jumped off and escaped. And we were in that time, before I went to Szwarcberg, I was in Wilka, an old camp. So he came to this camp and told the people that what happened in Treblinka. They didn't want to believe him. They thought that he hit his head. How could he take people, put in gas chambers and kill? They thought he's crazy. But my brother Benjamin believed him. Because he believed him, when he was going to take him away with my father to another camp, he tried to escape, and I shot him in front of my eyes. He tried to run, but he was shot. Yes, because he said to my father, I don't want to be guest.
Yeah.
That's really happened. Yeah.
So from that first camp that you were in the labour camp, How did you get then to
We went-
Buchenwald?
First I was in Wilka because I've forgotten to tell you that that's when my father was a prominent in the town. I come from the town hall to tell them tomorrow is going to be the liquidation. So my father didn't keep a secret. He told everybody, whoever listened to him, escaped to Wilka, that's small, about 30 miles from Kozienice, and I came. And the rest were taken away to Auschwitz. Yes.
So again, that moment where
Yeah.
anything could have happened. There
Yeah.
are so many of those moments in
Yeah.
your story.
And my sister also escaped with me, my father, and my brother Benjamin. We went all. We hired a wagon.
Yeah.
And I remember like today, the Polish man wanted more money. Yeah, it's still my mind. So my brother, we took a single head machine. We thought we might be able to work there. He lifted up this. He told him, if you're not going, I'll kill you with that machine. And he said, "Vio!" And then he went. Yeah.
You got your wagon.
Yeah, wagon. We got into the camp. Yeah, he wanted more money.
That was a labour camp.
Labor camp, yeah.
And then from there, where did you?
And there I went to Szwarcberg. Yes, I took my father first away, then my sisters escaped, and I was left by myself. And I came, they took me in a big wagon. I come middle of the night in a factory. I didn't know where I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now you're.
Szwarcberg was a horrible camp.
It's horrible. And then from there, you were
After that,
from Buchenwald
from
at 12 years
42
old.
to 44,
Yeah.
I was in Szwarcberg, and then they took me to Buchenwald. When I came to Buchenwald, I arrived there, and I thought I landed a new planet.
Right.
Yeah, the people looked horrible, with all dressed up in the striped uniform, and so they looked very malnourished. And I said to myself, I'm not going to survive this place. That's true.
Yeah.
We arrived. I had photos of my family, and everything was taken away, cut off my hair, and put me in a barrel to this. It smelled disinfection.
Disinfectant.
Yeah. Yes. And then they gave me some clothes which was too big for me. I was a little boy, and what you call it, Dutch.
Oh, the clogs.
Clogs, yeah. Not shoes, clogs. Yeah.
So how did you, when you went from one camp to the other, did you go with people that you had sort of become friendly with?
We were traveling for about 3 days. We were traveling from Poland to Germany, Buchenwald is near Weimar,
Yeah.
And we arrived in Breslau. That's something I must tell you too. And we didn't have any water for 2-3 days and any food. And when we stopped at the night time, there was in Szwarcberg Jewish police, that they employed people to look. And he screamed to the little window, help, water, food. So somebody brought a bottle of water and a bread, something, pushed it through the little window. That policeman took everything. He didn't want to share with anybody on the train. So there was other people. His name was George. He said, Yossele, he called me Yossele. Take the bread out from his pocket. So I went, I wasn't frightened. I went in and tried to cut the bread out. When I got it, he tried to choke me. So the other man was a big guy. He went to him, you're not a policeman here, you're just like me. And he choked him. He said, let him go. And we took the bread, and everybody shared a piece of bread, a bit of water. That's a true story, what happened coming to Buchenwald. Yeah.
And were you with the same people when you arrived, or
Yes.
did you get into the barracks with the kids
Also,
and
that
meet new
time in
people?
Buchenwald was they took people to factories in Germany, So you went through a checkout if you're healthy and strong. So I got undressed, And the SS was sitting on a big table. I remember it like today. And I saw the chimney from the crematorium.
Yeah.
I could see it from there. And he said to me, because I got address, I was a little boy, skinny, unfähig zu der Arbeit, that I'm not able to work. And I started crying. I thought he was going to send me to the crematorium. And I said to him in German, ich will ein guter Arbeiter. I worked very hard in San Francisco. Weg. And I was lucky, actually, that he let me stay in the camp. Yeah. And then I could hear from far, that's true story what I'm telling you. A Jewish man said in Yiddish to me, I don't know if you understand a little bit of Yiddish. Yingal, Weinisch, it's better that you stay here. Yeah. I could, he was behind the fence, and I could hear in Yiddish. Yeah. Then I was in block 23. Yeah.
The children's block.
Yeah. That was not the block. Later on, they sent me to block 66, was the children's block. It was also block 8, also, it's another children's block. But before the liberation, a lot of people were helped to bring a lot of other blocks, young boys, to block 66. Yeah.
And what were some of the things you did, like the singing or the fixing of the staircase to sort of get a little bit ahead?
Well, when I came to Buchenwald the first few nights, it was horrible, because in the beginning, when I came a bit earlier than other boys, I came in August. In December, January, came a lot called the March of Living. They came from Auschwitz, the people. And they were like skeletons, because my father was one too, who was marching. Unfortunately, I shot him, and left his body in the gutter. Yeah. But in Buchenwald, what I gave you was impossible to survive. Therefore, you had to find a way to get some extra food. If you couldn't, you could not survive. So you had to find a way. So I was working in a construction place where I'm mixing cement. And opposite where I was working was a warehouse where bread was brought in. So I saw the steps, had holes. I thought to myself, you had to think how to survive to get. So I went with a bucket of cement. I went to the man. I said, you got holes you might fall down. I can fix it for you. And he looked at me. I had pity. He said, go ahead and fix it. And he brought out a whole loaf of bread that normally had 10 people. So I shared the bread with all my friends. Later on, a few months later, I was lying on the bench and I couldn't sleep. And I was thinking how to get some bread. So I came up with an idea. I'll go back to the construction place. I'll take a hammer and a chisel. There was a lot of tools there. And I make new holes in the steps. In the morning, I get up to work. When the delivery man was arriving, I went over to him and I said, look, there's new holes. Can I fix it for you? He looked at me. I had pity. He said, go ahead and fix it. And he gave me another loaf of bread, which I also shared with my friends. You had to use your brains to survive. Otherwise, I would not be talking to you.
And this is a photo you shared with us here of some of the boys all marching.
Yeah. That's young boys. Yes, that's right. I shared with them. Yeah, I was in the same block with them.
Yeah. And so, how long were you in Buchenwald for?
In Buchenwald, I was more than a year, 1 year.
For a year.
Yeah, nearly a year. Yeah.
But that's really the key of this camaraderie, this community.
In that time, I was telling you before, when it was the dead march and people used to arrive and they come to sleep on the same bank. And I spoke to them during the night. When I woke up in the morning, they were dead bodies. They died from starvation. They were so weak. It's like there was not much food,
Yeah.
And every day, about 10 or 20 bodies that time were taken out every day to the crematorium. It was a horrible camp.
Shocking.
Yeah.
So then, what
Later
happened on the 11th of April?
Before the 11th of April, the Germans, they always want to get rid of the Jews first. So they decided, before the Americans were very close, I knew they were very close, they wanted to send out the Jews. So I knew, I was very weak, I couldn't, I knew my father died from the walking. I said, I'm not going anywhere. So where I was working, it's a cement place. One of the men that also a prisoner he told me, if the Americans get very close, there's a door which will take you down to the sewage. So I went down to the sewage with other boys, and we stayed there for 2 days. Yeah, and after 2 days, we had to come out because there was no water, no food. We lifted up the sink, we came out. When we came out, they asked somebody, it was also policemen might be now, from not really German, they were Germans, but not all Häftlinge, like prisoners, the sign. Asked them what to do. He said, go to block 66. There's a man called Anthony Kalina. He will change your name to a Polish name, and they won't send you away. And so I did go to block 66. Yes.
Do you remember your Polish name?
Yes. Jezik, Francisco. Anyway, after that, I came out also with my friend, but I showed you a photo. His name was Jurek. And we hit himself underneath, and they came, they picked us up and tried to send us out. So I went over to this policeman, not really, he was German, but also a prisoner. I said, I told him a lie. I got brothers in block 66. I want to go back. He said, go back. The next day, we were liberated,
Tell us about that day.
Block 66 was the end of the barracks, on a hill. And you could see from there, when you're on the top of the bank, the American tanks. You could see them coming slowly. And there was crossfire going on. And Mr. Kalina said, children, lie with your face down on the floor. So the bullet went through, the barrack. Yeah. The next day, there was a resistance in Buchenwald. And I had, because I worked in ammunition factories, I smuggled in some ammunition guns. And as soon as I saw the Germans running away, they were waiting for them. And I caught them, about 25 Germans that caught the Nazis. And I came to block 66. I can tell you the joy when I saw them with their hands up, frightened for their life. I thought, I couldn't believe my eyes. We were trying to hit them. All the boys came out and tried. They told us, you can't, we have to bring them to justice. Yes. And they took them away, yeah. The first 3 soldiers who came in a jeep, one of them, I like to remember, was a French guy who was lived in America, but he joined the American army. In the French, Buchenwald was not Jewish, it was 120,000 people, Buchenwald, from all nationalities, from all over Europe. So it was French people too. And he was a Frenchman. I'll never forget, I lifted him up, Vive la France, screaming, like, you've forgotten, you're hungry. The joy was, you cannot imagine the joy, what we all went through when we were free. Even we were all skinny. When I was liberated, I was only a 1.49 meters and 32 kilos. A little skeleton I was.
Could you believe that day?
Yeah, And thanks to the Red Cross helped me with food and things like that, I come to myself. And I also must tell you, there was a lot of Russian prisoners. And I ran out to the villages and got some trucks, you know, that were military men, and brought pigs and cooked a soup with beans. And this soup was like poison because the body couldn't take such rich food. And people got diarrhea. A lot of people died from that soup. Yeah. And I had diarrhea too. But I remembered when my mother always said, if you have diarrhea, have some cacao or chocolate. That will stop it. So I had a cousin who was also in Buchenwald, David. He took me to Weimar, which is 7 miles from Buchenwald. And I went to the American soldier, that's what I'm telling you. And I said, chocolate, chocolate. He gave me a whole box of about a kilo dark chocolate. It was very hard to open the box. I opened the box and I ate it mostly all. Then for 3-4 days I was constipated. That's true.
Oh, it worked.
I survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I made the arrangement to send 430 boys to a Jewish orphanage called Ose. Ose is a well-known Jewish orphanage. I've been there for 120 years, still today too.
In France.
In France. We arrived in a small place near Normandy the place was called Écueil. The population of there was only about 350 people, a small village. We were 430 in one block. And we were very wild.
Yeah.
Young boys. You cannot imagine.
So these are some of the boys here?
Some of the boys, yeah. Yes.
And what were those days like compared to, it must have felt like a dream compared to where you come from?
We kept eating without stop.
Yeah.
And big baguettes, you know, the French baguette, and cheeses, and café au lait, you know. It gave us lots of food. Whatever we ate was not enough.
Yeah.
We were hungry. And some of the boys, some of them even took a lot of food into the room. They thought tomorrow they won't have it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that were with you, they were mainly the boys from that you'd all moved together. So
in France, after being 2-3 weeks, 250 boys decided to go to Israel. So I went to Israel, and there was Rabbi Law. Also, you heard about Rabbi Law, chief rabbi.
He's a chief rabbi. He was
8 years old at that time. I'll bring you some photos. I'll show you in a minute. And a lot of them decided to sign France, and they also organized different houses. I went with a younger group, and Elie Wiesel, you heard about Elie Wiesel, he also came with us. He went to a tavernie. There was a religious house where they had the davener, like putting tefillin on, you know. They kept a religious home, kosher, you know, food, you know. So he was there. He was also, Elie Wiesel was also with me in Block 66.
Okay.
When he died, the Holocaust asked me to make a speech about him to tell his life story, and I did, yeah. Yes, was his youth heart, you know, a year after he passed away. Yeah.
So from France?
From France, being about nearly 3 years, I went to school there.
And you got very good memories
at
that time, and community with.
Yeah, they looked after me very well in those days. And every morning we used to get up for 1 hour. We used to do sport, run around, and then I used to do 35 push-ups.
Yeah.
And then have a shower, and we had breakfast.
So how old were you?
14,
15.
Yeah.
And how would you get information about where your family was, or friends, or anyone? Could you get information?
Too. I didn't know that my sister survived, and I did not know that I survived. So the only way to find out, you had to go to the Red Cross for help. So in Paris, I went to the Red Cross. It was a Polish Red Cross. I went there and I told them that I'm looking for my sister. Could you help me to find my sister? We'll do our best. So I sent a message to Kozienice. And that time, when the message came to Kozienice, they put the names that I survived on a big block, on a poster, that I survived and I live in Paris. And when they came to Kozienice to look for me, they saw my name. You cannot imagine the joy when they realized that I survived. Straight away, they sent me a telegram, which I have it here in French. Les trois sœurs vivent à Pologne. That means my three sisters survived and lived in Poland. And I was jumping for joy when I received that telegram. The telegram also came to Paris, just like yours, Szwarcberg, Paris. No address where I am. I was in Normandy. But somehow or another, this telegram, because my name was like a Jewish name, and the telegram was written that the sister survived. They knew that I'm Jewish. They gave it to a Jewish organization, and the Jewish organization found me in Normandy, and I got this telegram.
That's amazing.
Yes. And I must tell you later, I met my sisters. That was already 4 years later, when after we were liberated. It was already 1946. My sisters moved from Poland to, in Germany, used to be a display camp. A lot of them, heard about it. So they were it's called Salzheim near Frankfurt, So when I smuggled myself in. It's a long story. To borders, I came to see my sister. There's a true story what happened. I walked in, and my sisters looked at me, and she said, "Who are you?" And I started crying. And when she see me crying, I got a little Yosel, and she hugged me. We couldn't get away from each other. Yes, I'll never forget what this day particularly happened. The joy was I cannot explain to you the joy. We're jumping for joy. Yeah.
Amazing.
I got my sisters, and I got a little brother here. Yeah.
And were they together, your sisters?
My sisters were together in Germany. All two of them. One was the oldest one, was still in Warsaw. Yeah. She came later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I arrived here from Paris, we arrived 45 boys. And they told me to get off in Fremantle. 4 boys went off in Fremantle. And the others went to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. They gave it. And I had to call a guardian. It's called from a Jewish Garden Society. It was Mr. and Mrs. Sharp in Perth who looked after me. Yes. They were like parents. And they had also 4 sons,
And where were the other 3 boys that came with you?
Also had guardians in Perth. The other 3 boys.
And you were chosen to go to Perth?
The guardians were like this. They took names of us, put in a hat, and the 4 guardians put the heads in, each one picked a name. So I happened to be to Mrs. Sharp. And we were, till she passed away in 1995, I went to Perth many times, and she comes to my son's wedding, my daughter's wedding, and bar mitzvah, she like a real family, yeah. And I must tell you too that it was twins. I had 2 brothers, twins, Ivan and Mervyn. They used to take me to Subiaco,
Yeah.
And I used to teach me the Australian rules and cricket. I learned all that. Become a real Aussie.
Yeah. How did you go with language? How did you...
When I came there, I couldn't speak any English at all.
And how old were you when you arrived here? 17?
17 and a half I was, yeah. And I was working, after 2 weeks there in Perth, I got a job in a factory making ladies' jackets. I didn't know how to run a machine, but Instead, I give him a piece of material, but after 6 months, I made 6 jackets a day.
Yeah.
True. I learned very quickly. And being with always speaking English, you pick up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from Perth, then you came.
From Perth, then my sisters decided they were in Germany, they wanted to come to Australia. So Mr. and Mrs. Sharp helped me make a permit for them. So I had to come to here to find accommodation.
To Melbourne.
Melbourne. I had a girlfriend, Diane, young girl, had a couple girlfriends, but one of them said to me, if you're going to find my sister lives in Nemea Street, you know, in off Balaclava Road. Yeah.
In Lamea.
Yeah. Anyway, and she hasn't got children. She has a big house. Your sister can live there. So I went to see her. She looked after me very well. She thought that and my sister was Diane, that she done everything because of the sister. Anyway, my sister lived there for a few months. And one day, I went to the pictures, the Victory here in St. Kilda Victory Theatre.
Yeah. On the corner.
Yeah, that's a true story. I got another girlfriend in the meantime, and she happened to be in the pictures, and she saw me with another girlfriend. She straight away told my sister, you have to leave in 3 weeks.
Oh, she got evicted because of you.
Yeah, that's a true story. So I had to find another accommodation. So I just was thinking what to do. Saturday night, Friday night actually, 12 o'clock in Flinders Street, I was waiting for the age to come out. They had all advertising houses and things like that. I said, well, tell me so what happened. And I saw a house that time, that was in the 1950s, 51. £2,600. Only a deposit of £600 and £6 a week to pay out. I had the £600 to give a deposit. So I rang him up and I told him, I'm taking, even not looking, I was so desperate how the house looked. 3 bedrooms, the weather was hot, doing Harcourt Avenue, not very far, but it's St. Crawford town hall is not far, 2 minutes. He said, beat me Saturday morning. I went there Saturday morning and I waited for him. When I arrived there in Harcourt Avenue, there was 100 people, all saw the same advertisement. They all wanted to buy the house. So I said, you promised me. And I told her, I promised a lot of people. The next sort of story, they made an auction next day on Sunday. And I had to pay another £200, like 2,800,
But you got the house?
I got the house.
You got the house.
We lived there,
Fantastic.
My sisters,
It's about the same price now, don't you think?
Yeah.
Maybe gone up a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how the prices were at that time,
So coming back to the Buchenwald Boys and that group and that community that you've got and that camaraderie, tell me what happened in it was 1990 at the 45-year reunion in Israel?
Yes.
How was that?
It was amazing. They come from all over the world, like from France. And first a group from France, they organized that with also a lot from Israeli Buchenwald. And they come from England, America, Canada, South America, Switzerland. And after 45 years, we have changed. We were little boys, and we were already in the 50s, So what we do, everybody had a photo attached here, how they looked from before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you recognize?
Of course, a lot to recognize, yes. A lot to change, a lot to change. And it was really amazing, the reunion. All the from all the ambassadors from all the countries
Yep.
came to this reunion. It was in Tel Aviv University. About nearly 2,000 people were there. And the children from Israel, the children and grandchildren, were like a philharmonic orchestra. And they organized dances. It was a day never to forget. It was so well beautiful. And the Rabbi Law was speaking,
Yep.
And there's a photo of Rabbi Law when we arrived in France with two other boys standing on a ladder, all 8 years old. And when he came to speak, when he finished speaking, he went over to the two boys, which he was on the ladder, next to them. On the same position like they were on the ladder, so I took a photo, and I took a photo from 50 years before and put it together. I'll bring it to you now and I'll show you. This is when we arrived in Ecouis. That's me here.
Can I open this one up?
Yeah.
So this is you here.
Yeah.
And this is when you were,
When we arrived in Ecouis, but, after liberation, we came to the house, we stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, okay. This is in Israel.
Yes. This is the photo I was telling you. I made 50 years design. This is Rabbi Law here.
Yep.
And this is, he became a professor in France, and
Yep.
he's a doctor. The three boys,
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, 50 years later.
And he was the chief rabbi.
Chief rabbi of Israel, and he's still his son now is a chief rabbi too, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Amazing.
Here's another photo. When I went back to Buchenwald, they gave it to me here, a photo, and here's a photo.
So this is you in Buchenwald.
Yeah.
And that was also, this was in France, this photo here.
Yes. This is the photo I came to see my sister,
You look very good there. Like you look very healthy and happy.
Yeah, I was very healthy. I was already 40 years after liberation.
Yeah, correct.
I was well looked after in
France, eating cheese and baguettes.
I grew up 35 centimeters in France. I was a little boy when I came to France.
Yeah. So what is it you'd like to let people think about as far as, what are some of the lessons that maybe you've learned or that you'd like for people to remember?
Tell you, which is very important for me. We come here 45 boys, say, with no money at all. I had $4, mostly the same, most the boys. But we built up a beautiful family. Each one got married. When somebody got married, we were like brothers. We were always invited. A child was born, we were always invited. And we always, once a year, when it was the liberation of Buchenwald, we call it our birthday, we made a ball here, called the Buchenwald Ball. It was a film made. I don't know if you can still buy it and see it.
Yes.
Yeah, a very good film. The SBS gave $300,000 to make that film. And the Buchenwald Boys didn't have university education, but they brought up children, and I would say now most of the children and grandchildren have university degrees. And they've done very well. Also, we used to have meetings, even here many times in this house. And we collected money for JNF, Israel called the Israel Appeal. We had speakers. In that time, we collected $50,000. It was a lot of money in the 50. We collected for Israel. And same thing we done for the Jewish welfare, also an appeal, also in this house and other houses. We also collect money, yes. Another thing happened, which I never forget. A lot of our kids went to Monskopus, and one of the Buchenwald boys got lost in Montpula. They went on an excursion in the snow, and he got lost. And I couldn't find him. we collected right away $15,000. We hired a helicopter, and we saved him. True. That's the Buchenwald Boys.
So that's
Yes.
the gang.
And the ball used to come, everybody, the woman used to get long dresses, we used to get tuxedos, and it used to be, it was well known that time, not only we celebrated, people come to the Buchenwald Ball with a lot of entertainment. It was a terrific ball. Sometimes we had it in Caulfield Town Hall, in St. Kilda Town Hall. It was very famous, the Buchenwald Ball.
Yeah.
And we used to have raffle tickets, and we collect money, and we also, what we might have, the money was profit, we also gave to charity, yeah.
You appear to be someone
Yes.
that just exudes happiness and optimism
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that...
And some of Joe Baker had two sons.
Yeah.
They were very, Mark and Johnny.
Yeah.
You heard about them, yes. And some of our boys become doctors, engineers, scientists. Yeah, I gave you in my
Yes.
speech, which I made in
Yes.
2017, what happened after with the Buchenwald Boys, yes.
Yes. And you've got this incredible optimism, this incredible love of life,
Yes.
this incredible... Do you
I
think
had
that
a
this is
strong
something...
will to live.
Yeah, and do you think that's
Yeah.
something that was always with you?
Yes.
Or do you think that's something
Yeah.
made you
Yes,
like
yes,
that?
yeah, that's in all my life. I always lie in bed and think how to improve my life. I've done very well financially, and so did my children. And I made sure that my children have a very good education. I have 4 doctors now in the family. Yes, I have.
That's very good.
And one of my grandson is now in Hague. He's an international lawyer. He got 4 university degrees.
Amazing.
And he works now, in Hague. His name is Dean. He's the oldest grandson.
Yeah.
Yes. You can see a photo here. I went to Boston.
This one, his
Yeah.
graduation?
Yeah, I went to Boston with my daughter, and he graduated
Amazing.
in Boston as an international lawyer.
Wow. Great photo.
Yeah.
So what is it you'd like us to remember, and what is it you'd like us to what's part of your legacy? What message do you have?
As I told you before, that it's very important not to forget the Holocaust. And I'm very proud with what happened in Israel. Israel achieved a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel much safer because we have our own country. Because before the war, nobody cares about us. Now we have somebody who cares for us. And I'm very proud for the achievement, what Israel has achieved. The same proud, I'm proud with my children, what did I have achieved as well in their life.
Yeah.
Yes. And the only thing what's happening now with anti-Semitism, it worries me a lot. When I saw the Opera House, when after 7 October, what happened, in screaming, gas the Jews, kill the Jews, I was crying. I couldn't sleep for a few nights because I was worried what's happening after. I came here to a country which I felt very safe. Now what happened, it's frightening not just for me, but for my children and grandchildren. Australia has changed a lot. It's not when I came here. We didn't have this problem.
Do you see that changing
We
back?
felt a lot safer,
Do you see that changing back? How have you seen the last year play out?
Yes, it's horrible what's going on. And I hope one day we won't have this problem. It's not very safe. You go to the synagogue, you have to have security, We don't feel, and a lot of children in the university, in Sydney, they didn't want to attend because they didn't feel safe. What happened to Australia? Either the government, who is the fault, I don't know. I don't think the government is doing enough really what's happening here. They should do a lot more to prevent this. I spoke in the Holocaust. I came from the Victoria Parliament, you know, from the Liberal Party, not from the Labour. And I told them, you remember, they used to stand up the Nazis in Hi Hitler, you know. That also upset me too. I said, I don't want to see this again. I told him, the leader of the Liberal campaign, I spoke to him. He said, Joe, I'll do my best. Yes. They actually forbidden that.
Correct.
You know, yeah.
And it's really important, I think, your words of never forget.
Yes.
And that's why something like this is so
Of
important
course,
to
it's very
hear
important,
directly
never
from
forget
you.
what that, yeah. As I told you before, Hitler is, I believe, is a very bad word. Hitler brings a lot of horror and people behave themselves in killing. All this comes from Hitler. Yes, a lot comes from Hitler. I believe very strong not to hide. This is a horrible word. I kept repeating that.
Yeah.
Even, I must tell you, you remember a few years ago in New Zealand, a man, he hated Muslim, and he went and killed a lot of Muslims. All came from hate. Therefore, do not hate. Hate is a horrible thing.
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget the Holocaust. Never forget it. It's unbelievable. Sometimes I lie in bed and think, how can a country like Germany, was a cultured country in the Western world, had so many famous people, musicians, artists, writers, and they could commit such atrocities to kill people because they were born Jewish. That didn't do any harm to them. They lived a normal life. They didn't know about them.
Mm-hmm.
You come and take people, whole families, and take them into gas chambers and kill them. When they arrived in Auschwitz, you know, they took them to Birkenau, to the gas chamber, and the mothers held the children. They didn't want to make a commotion to take away the children because the mothers wouldn't let them. So they took the mothers and the children to the gas chamber. How could people, intelligent people, if they come from South Africa with wild people that do things, but how cultured people could commit such atrocities is I cannot understand. Yes, I cannot understand how they done it. You cannot imagine. A lot of people, my sisters survived because they were born in pipers and Irish pipers. Yeah, they paid money to change in birth certificates. There were people who done this, you know, to help. They also were on the run all the time, you know. And also you were not so frightened when you were in Poland about the Germans, but you were also frightened for the Poles, but they used to dock you in, you know. They used to dock you in, a lot of them, yes, they did. A lot saved people too, I must say. They risked their life, because if they were caught, they would be killed as well. Yes, you must admit that as well, yes. But what's happened, it's just, like here, you would come, Germans, and take all the Jews here from Caulfield because they're born Jewish and killed them. They haven't done anything to them. And why does some of them, but a lot of people followed, you know, and done the same thing. And I saw it happening and I didn't do anything about it. I'll never forget another thing. When we were liberated, it was President Eisenhower was the time in charge, and he brought in the army to Buchenwald. At the crematorium that time, there was hundreds of dead bodies. In the way that the bodies look, skeletons because of died from starvation. Like hundreds of lying like a timber yard, you know? And they brought the Germans from the Weimar in trucks to show what happened. And I watched them. They were crying, we haven't gar nicht gewusst. We never knew about it. How could I lie that I didn't know about it, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yes. And there was a Madame Koch, the commander in charge of Buchenwald, his wife. There were people who had tattoos. She took the skins off and made lampshades of them. And we had it, I had photos of it. Made lampshades from human beings, you know. Yeah.
That's the importance of not forgetting now.
Not to forget.
Correct.
Yes.
That's why this is...
Yes, I can never forget. When I saw those bodies lying, you know. You probably saw it in films, you know. And Schindler's List, you saw Schindler's List.
Of course.
It was very well done.
Have you always been able to speak about your experience, or was it something that came later on in life?
I came here, I had a business for 57 years. Can you see this photo here? And that photo here?
Oh, yes.
Take it out. I was on front page.
Good photo.
Yes, yeah. On front page, yeah. Take a photo here. I was in 9 newspapers.
No ordinary Joe.
No ordinary Joe. And I had the shop for 58 years.
Wow.
I used to import shoes from Yittel in France. I was well known. An icon, you know, of Melbourne. And they interviewed me on the TV, on 3W. I was everywhere, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So were you always able to talk about your experiences?
Yeah, because I was in business, I couldn't be in... The Holocaust is already 40 years.
Yeah.
And I came in about 12 years ago, and 13 years ago I retired, I was 83. So when I retired, I joined.
At the Holocaust
Center. Holocaust Center. When it was 40 years anniversary, they asked from all the Holocaust people, they asked me to speak.
Oh, great.
And a lot of people come that day, it was a Sunday. When I finished speaking, everybody had a standing ovation, you know. Yes.
I could see
yeah,
why.
That's true. Yeah. A lot of famous people came to listen to me in the Holocaust, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we're very lucky. We're very grateful for the
Yeah.
time now.
Yes.
So I can see
I
we're
told
here.
them my life story, and you know, I told them a lot of Buchenwald Boys was involved, also helping the, you know, speaking. A lot of them used to come just like me. There was one Shaya Cheskel, I don't know if you heard about him. He got RBI from was a Holocaust survivor, not the Buchenwald Boys.
Yeah. I feel like that connection that you guys had was really something that kind of propelled all of you through.
From us is about 254 generations left. And I do exactly the same what we've been doing. Every 11th of April, usually our Sundays don't have to be the exact day, because we only can do it on a Sunday. We go to cemetery, we build a monument.
I've got your speech here from that monument, I've got your speech here from that dedication in 2017. Let me get it.
I'll show you.
There it is. You've probably seen that.
Yeah. Then when you come to the
on
Brown Street,
in
here's the Buchenwald Boys.
at Springvale Cemetery.
That's the bowl. You can see dressed up.
Very fancy.
Yeah.
I love it. And you did the dedication. You did the opening, the dedication speech.
And we go to the cemetery, and under this monument, we put because we didn't know where our parents were buried, or uncles or brothers, so we made like like a tombstone, and we put all the names of our family who perished in copper plates.
Mhm.
So when the children come, they can see the names of their grandparents, uncles there. And if any of the Buchenwald passes away, we put their names again. So every 11th of April, we go to the cemetery, we go to the Stiebel.
Yeah.
And a lot of the second generation, I spoke, my children spoke, my daughter spoke. And afterwards, we go to the hall. We had classical music and a lot of food, and we dance a whole afternoon.
Yeah. And you refer that as your second birthday.
Doing exactly what we do.
Yeah.
They continue the same thing what we used to do. The 4 generations.
Amazing.
My children are involved, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, I'm very proud what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Many more to come.
We were 45 boys. Unfortunately, I'm the only one left now.
Big responsibility.
In the clinic there, a big party that will be 80 years anniversary. I hope I will be there.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, to celebrate the 80th anniversary. So they're going to, they're booked in St. Kilda Town Hall.
Perfect.
So a lot of people will be invited.
Yeah. Good.
It's an amazing group,
It's amazing.
From other Holocaust survivors, we were a unique group. We could call ourselves, when I spoke, a global family. Yeah. Not a family here, but
Everywhere.
a global family,
Yeah.
yes.
Fantastic.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for sharing
Yes.
everything. It was great to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. And
I
a good
wish you-
Yom
I
Tov.
wish you a
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova, a happy new year and a healthy new year. That's
Exactly,
most
mate.
important. Yeah. All of you here today learn from what I and so many other survivors experience. You must all work to fight against hatred and intolerance everywhere in the world, to make sure that nothing like the Holocaust can ever happen again. And most importantly of all, you must never forget the story of the Holocaust, so the generations to come can learn this lesson. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Exactly. And you're still doing the talks at the Holocaust Centre?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Yom Tov, I don't. But
Yeah. And how do you find those? How do you like the new
people
centre?
are
Do you like the
very-
new centre?
You see, because I was very young, and I went in not even 12 years, so the children relate to me a lot more than other
Mhm.
older people, you understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
They
also
ask
much
me
younger.
a lot of questions.
Where was this photo taken?
Here, my house.
That was here.
Yes. When I told you, my friend came from Paris,
Yes.
so he stayed here for 6 weeks. So in this house, here,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's quite the difference from that photo, isn't it?
Yeah, quite a different, yeah.
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 Incredible story. I mean, you're quite an amazing, inspirational person. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story and just getting a bit of an insight
I had
into you.
the interviews from the Australian newspaper
Mhm.
came to me, and I spoke to the police. Police, it was about 100 police. They gave me a yarmulke. I was sure, yeah. They gave me a yarmulke. I spoke to them. I told them to do something about it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. They were very impressed with my story. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We've loved hearing your story.
Thank you so
We
much for
appreciate it
coming
so much.
and taking an interest in me.
Yeah.
And maybe I talk too much.
No, we love you. You're great. Thank you.
Yeah.